In a few hours, he was scheduled to die, and his final request wasn't for a last meal or a phone call. It was to see his dog, Max, one last time. That morning, the air in the penitentiary was thick and heavy. Every sound, from the clink of keys to the echo of boots on concrete, seemed to carry the weight of what was to come. In his cell, Daniel sat on the edge of his cot. 7 years inside had carved lines into his face and softened the defiance that once lived in his eyes. The warden expected the usual, a final letter, a call to family. But when he asked, Daniel's voice was low and steady. "I want to see Max, my dog." A request for a dog? Unheard of. For the other guards, it was a strange choice. But for Daniel, Max was the only one who had stood by him, before the arrest, before the trial, before the world turned its back. The warden was a man of procedure. He'd seen strange requests, but bringing an animal into a maximum security prison on execution day? Never. But a review of Daniel's file showed a spotless record. No fights, no infractions, and a single personal note. Owned a German shepherd named Max for 8 years. The warden gave a single, strict nod. 10 minutes in the yard. For Daniel, those 10 minutes felt like an eternity. He stood in the prison yard, cuffs loose on his wrists, his eyes locked on the gate. And then it creaked open. Max trotted in, his coat gleaming. He was older, with gray on his muzzle, but his eyes were the same. The moment the leash slackened, he surged forward. Daniel dropped to his knees just as the dog reached him. Max pressed his head into Daniel's shoulder, whining, a sound caught between pure joy and deep grief. For a beautiful, fleeting moment, the prison vanished. There was no countdown, no death order, just a man and his dog, reunited. But then, everything shifted. Max froze. His body went rigid. His tail stopped. A deep, guttural growl rumbled from his chest. He wasn't looking at Daniel anymore. His gaze was locked on a man standing 10 feet away. Officer Jenkins. "Control your dog," a guard muttered. But Daniel knew. Max never growled without a reason. Officer Ramirez, a guard who had always been quiet but fair, watched the interaction closely. He approached Daniel, his voice low. "Your dog's got a good nose. Funny thing, Jenkins was on duty the night you were arrested, but he never reported it." The words hung in the air. If Jenkins was there, why wasn't it in the report? As if on cue, Jenkins reappeared. Max's growl returned, sharp and unrelenting. Ramirez's eyes narrowed. This wasn't normal. The warden, watching from his tower, felt the tension and called down. The air was now electric. This was no longer just a goodbye. It was the beginning of something else. Later, in a small interview room, the warden confronted Jenkins. Max was there, a silent, growling sentinel by Daniel's side. "Officer Jenkins," the warden began, "why didn't you disclose you were at the scene the night Daniel was arrested?" Jenkins' jaw tightened. "Didn't think it mattered. I was off duty." At that moment, Max let out a sharp, sudden bark, his focus laser-locked on Jenkins. Ramirez stepped forward. "Your dog's got a good nose. A witness just came forward. They saw a man matching your description leaving Daniel's house before the police arrived." The warden's expression darkened. "We're reopening the case. The execution is delayed, effective immediately." Daniel felt the air rush back into his lungs. It wasn't freedom, not yet, but it was hope. The investigation moved quickly. Retested fingerprints, more evidence. It all pointed to one man, Jenkins. He had been at the scene. He had planted the evidence. He had committed the crime Daniel was sentenced for. The charges against Daniel were dropped. The prison gates, which were supposed to be the end of his life, now swung open to set him free. And there, just beyond the fence, was Max. Tail wagging, eyes bright. Daniel dropped to his knees one final time, buried his face in the thick fur and whispered, "We made it, boy. We made it." He stepped forward. No cuffs, no guards, no walls, just open sky and the loyal friend who never stopped believing he was innocent. This story reminds us that the truth doesn't always come from a witness stand. Sometimes it comes on four legs, with a wet nose, and a heart full of loyalty that never, ever forgets.